Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another fun-filled video for you. I was going to do an update on my, I guess parts 3 and 4 of my South African knives, but that's going to be interrupted and put off until next weekend. Because I've got something underneath this towel that I think I should review in case anyone is interested in getting this piece. So let's go ahead and uncover this beauty, and we're going to talk about this knife. This is a production knife, so let's get at it. It's a Benchmade, and we are going to be reviewing the 601 Tengu flipper. Actually, this is just, I guess, an unboxing, if you will. So yeah, this is the unboxing of the 601 Tengu flipper by Benchmade. It's a liner lock knife used for everyday carry. The blade steel is CPM CB20, which is just like M390. So let's go ahead and pull out this guy. Going to go over the stats for a second, but first we just want to go ahead and unbox this beauty because it is really very pretty. So there's your, I guess, famous Benchmade care and use and care manual. You know, you guys have seen that. I'm not even going to bother to open it. I mean, it just comes in every box. Got styrofoam, so nothing special. It's just a box. Let's get to the knife itself. So the knife comes in a slip, a leather knife slip. It's a knife slip, really very nice one. It's got like the American flag on it. And there's your Benchmade mark right on the slip. So let's go ahead and pull it out. To pull this knife out, basically you press the bottom of the slip, you know, to get the knife to come out. And we're going to take a look at it. It's all... Just let it sit there all nice and pretty. And we are going to get the stats out of the way while I flip open the knife. And you guys can take a good look at it, and I'll talk about the knife. So there you have it. This is not a large flipper knife. This is a small knife, so let's get to the specs. The blade length of this knife is 2.77 inches. The blade thickness is 0.021. The knife open is 6.61 inches, and closed it is 3.85 inches. The weight is 2.67 ounces, and the handle thickness is 0.44, and I guess the weight of the sheath is 32 ounces. We have a plain edge knife with a Tanto-style blade. It's got a satin finish on it. You'd say it's got a satin finish, but really to me it looks like it's more of a stonewash finish on that. I don't know, you guys can be the judge. Got a little water on that. Again, yeah, the blade steel is a CPM 20 CV, and the blade shape is Tanto. It's a Tanto blade. There's no clip, pocket clip. It does come with the slip. There's no glass breaker of any kind. The handle on the knife, I thought was micarta, but it's not. It's actually contoured G10. Contoured in a sense that if I hold it up, you can see it's got some sort of like rounded feature for grip. In other words, it's kind of like round on the handle, so you get a nice comfort grip on it. There's more G10 on the back. I love that stacked look on the back spacer there. It's also G10. For some reason, the knife kind of reminds me of like a deck of cards. I think it's kind of cool. We have a really cool white shield showing on top of the black G10. Really very nice looking. So this is one of, everybody knows that Benchmade is a knife company that's not known really for catering to the knife collector. Since the beginning, I think Benchmade has always marketed themselves as a tool company, a company that sees knives as tools. And not that their knives are plain, but they're, they add some flash to it, but not as much flash as say, Zero Tolerance or Spartaco, where they bring in, some fancy materials and introduce the public to stuff like that. This is probably the first aesthetically looking collector's type knife that I have ever seen come from Benchmade, really. It's really very pretty, I have to admit, which is why I got it. It almost kind of reminds me of a South African knife, even though it's not a South African knife. This knife is obviously made American. The designer of this knife is Jay O'Sear. I believe he's from Provo, Utah, if I'm not mistaken. And he's the collaborative designer on the knife. The knife has an incredibly hard detent, which I found quite surprising. I don't know if that is, Jay O'Sear's influence or Jay Osler's influence to have a hard detent. I mean, the detent ball must be pretty deep in this knife because it's such a small knife, right? You wouldn't expect it to be such a hard detent on that. So what makes this knife so unique is that this knife is a flipper knife, right? But it has a slip joint-like aesthetic look to it. I mean, obviously by the fact that the knife doesn't have a pocket clip, that it comes with a sheath, like most slip joints come with. They also come with sheaths, but it's a flipper knife, so it kind of makes it really an interesting choice, I think, if you were to use this for EDC. Because most people who have EDC knives, they want the pocket clip. I'm the same way, but ironically, I'm the kind of person that doesn't use the pocket clip. I just put the knife in my pocket, but for aesthetic purposes, I like to have a pocket clip on the back of the knife. But regardless, it's still a really nice knife, and I think the fact that they include a really nice leather sheath with it makes up for the fact that there is no pocket clip. Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. And the slip joint-like look, I think, is really appealing. You could use this knife as sort of like a really cool little office knife. This is definitely not an intimidating piece to carry in your pocket. I mean, if you were to show somebody, they're not going to go running the other way. Tonto style blade works really well. The Tonto style blade, I think, is almost kind of like reminiscent of the Warncliffe style, where you have a straight cut all the way, and then it goes jagged and then up a little bit, but you've got plenty of cutting surface on the knife to do whatever you need, and then of course you've got your piercing. You've got your tip there for piercing, so that works really well. I mean, overall, I think for a production knife, the knife is incredibly stunning. I do like the look of this knife overall. I don't know what the shield means. I'm not sure if that means anything. I think it looks pretty. But I don't know if that means anything. Interesting choice on the jimping, which I thought was something I never saw before. It has these sort of like squared like separations rather than seeing like strikes for the jimping on the liner lock there. They have like 3 like separate squares. I've never seen that on a knife. I thought that was kind of an interesting aesthetic choice. The knife has really nice action. Like I said, it's a very hard detent knife, which was kind of shocking for such a small knife. But it is a smooth knife. So, yeah, I mean, the knife does have really nice action. And I think this is probably where knives are going now, where they're doing that crossover thing where, we like the slip joint look, but we want to be able to flip our knives rather than to have it as sort of like a two-handed opening like the slip joint. What we're saying when they come out with a knife like this is we love the way the slip joint looks, but we don't like the two-handed operation. We're happy with just being able to pop it open with one hand. And I think that's probably going to be the major appeal for this knife. Because like I said, Benchmade doesn't really make a lot of knives that appeal to the collector. Case in point, maybe the Benchmade Anthem, which I brought out from my collection quite often, would be considered, kind of like a custom-like knife, and not really considered just a tool. But there is obviously nothing wrong with Benchmade doing that, because there's a market for people out there that want to buy knives because they like to use hard tools and they need something to cut with that's going to really do the job. Not that they would 80-60 aesthetics, but it's not number one in their mind when they buy a knife from Benchmade. They're looking for that hard-ass quality that you get from a knife. And what makes this particular choice so nice is the fact you still have that with this knife, even though it's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing than you would find from Benchmade. So that would be more like a double plus, in my opinion. That's not to say, that their lineup doesn't have that much, but, they've got quite a few knives. The Crooked River, I think, is definitely one of them. And, of course, to make up for that, Benchmade has a custom section on their website where you can customize a knife. So they're starting to slowly come out of that. We're not just a tool knife company. We do also make knives that people want to have in their pockets that look pretty. And I think that this knife is definitely one of those. So they've done a limited edition version of this knife. I can't remember what the color of it was. I think I saw some blue in there, but the limited edition version of the 601 Tengu flipper is even more aesthetically pleasing than this, and I think this is really aesthetically pleasing already. But they did do one limited edition. I think you could probably still get that. You may want to check that out on their website. I'm not sure if it's still available. But yeah, I just wanted to do this quick video on this Tengu flipper because it really is a really very, very nice knife. The action is very smooth. I do love the way the knife pops open with authority. A lot of times knives that have that really soft detent, and that's all because of the hard detent. Some of the knives that I've come across, they have these really soft detents that don't really give you that feeling, but this is definitely not one of them. So if you're looking for a really small gentleman's carry from Benchmade, I think this is going to really do well for you on that effect. This look here really is something. I love the way that looks. It's like I said, it reminds me of like a deck of cards for some reason. The accents of the black and white work incredibly well on this. Really nice job on the G10. With little strikes of white in there. They really nailed the aesthetics on this one. Again, it's all my opinion, but for a company that doesn't spend so much time on aesthetics, I can't say that about this knife. It is just primo beautiful. So yeah, that's it for the Tengu Flipper 601. I forgot to mention the knife does run on ball bearings. I'm just blabbing on. The knife runs on ball bearings. Another thing about the knife also is how far down they put the pivot on this knife. It is like all the way down in there, deep, pretty deep. If you look closely, yeah, you can see the ball bearings in there. on the knife. See the little round balls in there? So it does have ball bearings on there. It's not IKBS, it's a caged ball bearing system, but it's a ball bearing system nonetheless. But yeah, the way they put the flipper, it's all the way, not the flipper, but the pivot on the knife is all the way down in there. I've never seen that on a knife, so I thought that was really, really kind of nice. The knife was completely brand new, obviously. It was kind of squeaking when I first got it, so I put a drop of oil in the ball bearings and the squeakiness went away. And, now, of course, the action's even better than it was when I first got it. I didn't hear the squeaking so much. But that's not even a negative either. There's nothing bad I can say about this knife, to be honest with you. I think the ergos on it are fine. If you have a large hand, you may not, this knife may not appeal to you. But then again, people that even have large hands, they find a way to make the small knives work for them. My hands are kind of small. I can get all 4 of my fingers on this knife. Obviously my finger will hit the flipper a little bit, but even if I were to push my hand down a little bit, I'm still getting a good grip on that. It's good. It's really, really good. The ergos are really nice on it. So there you have it, the Tengu 601 flipper knife with the slip joint look to it. And I'm going to close out this video by showing it up against the knife sheath. I didn't do that either, did I? Let me do that also. The knife sheath on the for this knife, it fits really not tight, but a perfect comfort fit for this knife. You can even push it all the way in. I was kind of perplexed as to how do I get the knife out of the knife sheath, and I realized you just basically press the bottom of it. Like so, because it's leather, it'll stretch. You don't really care. But basically, I just realized, well, why don't I just press the bottom of it? And then it comes right out really nice. It's got a really semi-snug fit. So the knife will slide easily out of the sheath. At the same time, if you put the knife in the sheath, it's not going to fall out at all. Even if you were to shake that sucker, it's not going to fall out of there. So the sheath is really, really very, very nice. Good stitching on the sheath. Your eye gets interrupted by the ending of it, though. I think there and there and there. They probably could have done it all the way straight through. It probably would have looked nicer, but whatever. That's just that's a little me being nitpicky, I guess. If you're not that nitpicky, you wouldn't care. But I thought I'd mention it because there might be some people out there that are nitpicky. So the American flag, again, is on the sheath. It's just a beautiful, beautiful knife, all packaged up really, really well. I thought that the idea for this knife was spot on. I don't know much about Jay Osser's designs, but I'm sure if you take a look at his website, you can see the influence of his design in this knife, because it's really beautiful, and a really nice choice to collaborate with that gentleman, Jay Osser. So this is Omar, the Knife Shark, guys, signing off. Hoping you'll find this video quite helpful. I'll close out by putting it up against the sheath right there, giving you a good look. Let's go ahead and turn the knife around one more time before I close. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will be back next week. I promise to do the rest of the update on my South African knives. So there you go, the Benchmade 601 Tengu Flipper. I forgot to mention the price on this knife is really not all that expensive for what you're getting. You're getting a custom-like looking knife, beautifully well made. Yeah, there's no blade play. I forgot to do that. There's no blade play on this knife at all. This thing's as solid as a rock. So the knife is incredibly beautifully made. The price on this knife runs with tax right around $209 all day long. That's what tax. So you're looking at right around $189 for this piece without the tax. So on eBay, you could probably catch this knife on eBay probably like right around anywhere between $209 to, I'm gonna say, like $223 at the highest. If you see it any higher than $223, don't go for it. They're getting you robbed there on eBay. So there you have it, the Tengu Flipper 601 by Jay Osser and Benchmade. Thank you so much for watching, and I promise I'll have more new blades for you in the future. I'm not going to be buying that many production knives, but if I come across one that I really, really love, like this one, I promise I'll let you guys, I'll do a video on it and go over that as well. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much, and have a good evening, guys.